be an energy in the room. Because I had my hair blue, the director refused to give me a main role. At uni were saying, how have you done that? And it's just like consistency, like making sure that you have the content there to constantly post. You have to be willing to go that extra mile. The algorithm is constantly changing.
I've worked with companies like I Saw It First, Misguided, Nice. Social media is a blurred vision of reality. I got to a point where I was putting in my captions, this picture is edited. I'll only do promote stuff that I feel really works.
What a blessing to be able to dance every single day.
It was like being in my weird version of High School Musical.
Welcome everybody to Moledina Talks, the show where we gain insight into individuals from different industries and discover what it is that drives them to their success.
My name is Zahra and I'll be co-hosting this episode with my brother Ali.
Today we have another great guest in store for you all to see.
But before we start, make sure you like, comment and subscribe and turn on your notifications.
I hope you all enjoy the episode. Welcome everybody to Moledina Talks. Today we have another brilliant guest with us. Today we have Leilah Bell. Leilah, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'm great. Thanks for having me. I love to do podcasts, I love to do talks, so I'm happy to be here.
No, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks Leilah for coming on, taking your time to be with us. Could you perhaps start by telling us a little bit about yourself, an introduction about what you do?
Yeah, so it's a funny question, that, because I never know what to actually say. So I would say I myself am a creative. I'd like to do anything within the creative industry, but I also do marketing as well. So it's a weird one. So business related, marketing, acting. I want to say creative, but that you'll find along the journey that I do a little bit of randomness, and it all adds to the creativity of me as an individual and my energy as a person. So hopefully you're entertained.
Yeah, so how does your week look in terms of your schedule? What are you doing day to day?
4 days a week at Amazon, and the other days, 3 days a week, I work on marketing. And I've just this year got myself an acting agent. So I won't talk much about that because it's not finalised and things like that, but the contract is signed, and I will be dipping more into the acting side of things as well this year, which will be really exciting. But for me, myself, I work on my marketing side of things. So I will take on clients and I will manage their social media for them. And it can be on different arrangements. So it'll be, I can manage their socials for them, or I'll do consultations with them, which will be sitting down, having meetings with them and just giving them guidance on where they can improve, or sort of advisories of this is what you should do next, in a sense.
Yeah.
That side of stuff is always all over the place because it's managed by myself. It's like my self-employment stuff. So it's always on my terms. And I think that's the best thing about it, sort of being your own boss in a sense. But then obviously when the acting side of things comes in, it'll be like, whoa, the schedule's going to be insane. But it's all good. I like to be busy and I like to be constantly doing stuff and doing creative work and things like that. So I'm just enjoying the flow at the moment. But I tell you, 2021 has been insane so far. So I'm excited to see where things go and what else happens for the future. So yeah, loving it.
Oh, that sounds great. You spoke about 2021 being a really great year for you. I was just wondering, has COVID affected you in any way, and affected the creative field for you?
Yeah, I would say 2020 was life-changing. I think it was for many people, and there's a lot of things that happened. Everybody was in the same situation in a sense, but a lot of people have positives, a lot of people have negatives. So it went different ways for different people. And for me myself, it was a very negative experience. However, you don't progress, and for me as a person, I wouldn't be where I am now if it wasn't for that situation that occurred or the experiences that I went through as a person. There's so many people that benefited massively from 2020, and you'll see it through social media. You'll see people that went viral through TikTok's going viral, videos that you wouldn't even think would go viral that went viral, and it did a lot for a lot of people. There's people now that are making millions and millions based on 2020 as a year and having content just going crazy and being shared so many times. And even TikTok itself was massive for 2020, and I think in terms of creativity it was amazing for the social world, and it advanced social media a lot. However, at the current time of 2020, I was employed as a social media manager at a media agency in Birmingham. And let's just put it this way, we had a team of I want to say 6 people, and then everyone got furloughed except for myself and another guy, which meant that we get kept on and we get paid our normal amount, but we do the work of all the people that you put on furlough. So can you imagine the workload and the stress? And it was insane. And I think it was a bit of a weird one, because it was a weird situation, thinking that the people that are on furlough are getting paid to do nothing, but I'm here getting paid my normal amount and just 20% extra than the people on furlough, and I'm doing double. And when I was doing all the work, I absolutely loved it. It was an amazing company, but the workload, when I say I was waking up in the morning, I was working nonstop, and I would not stop working until gone past 8 o'clock at night. And I think when you sit down and you really think about it and you're like, hang on a second, I'm working overtime, I'm not getting paid for this. And I remember reaching out to a couple of friends, and I was in a very negative headspace about it. And I was a bit like, from when me as a person can say that I'm in a negative headspace, my closest friends call me a ray of sunshine. They describe me as a Disney ball of energy. I am vibrant, and I know I am. And I think it shocked my closest friends, thinking, whoa, you need to get out of what you're doing because it's not healthy. I learned a lot because I wasn't just doing my job role. I was then also doing proposals for big Birmingham companies. I was pitching to the mayor of West Midlands, and the workload was insane, but it was a blessing in disguise because I learned so much from it. And funnily enough, I messaged a few friends that were working at their workplace, and I said to them, can you send me the job description? And I think I'm gonna quit my job and whatnot, because it was for mental health reasons. I was like, I've never been, I'm in a bit of a negative headspace. I've never said that. I've never openly been down or upset about a situation. And then I remember reaching out to them and I said, send me the job description. And I looked into it and I was going to apply. And then funnily enough, we had a new guy come into work, and I remember he said to me, so who's posting on the weekend? Bear in mind, these weren't our work days. So he was openly saying, so who's working on the weekend? And I didn't say anything, and I was sort of like, I'm not going to say anything because I'm not agreeing to working out of my work hours. And then I remember the way he reacted to me just being silent. It was, okay, so Leilah, if you're not posting on the weekend, then can you make sure you've got all of the content prepped? And I was like, okay, I see the situation here. And I think it was that the morals were slipping in the workplace, and I didn't actually apply for the job that my friend sent to me, but it was on my mind and I was going to do it. However, the week after, I had a phone call, and it was a Zoom call meeting, and basically they made me redundant.
Oh no.
And I was like, wow. But before they made me redundant, they made me do a month's worth of content.
Oh wow.
And I was like, wow. But you know what? Like, that experience was such a blessing because it was a massive reminder of who I am as a person. And also, you should never ever feel like you have to do and go above and beyond for a company when you don't feel like you are being appreciated or treated well, in a sense. And when I say 2020 was a negative experience, that was one of the negative experiences, but it also transformed into a positive experience as well. There was a lot of other negative in terms of like family and like health and situations, people losing loved ones and things like that. But I think that's 2020 in terms of business, career, life. That was massive for me. But you know what? It pushed me to be like, I want to do this on my own terms, and I want to do it my own way. I want to enjoy it. I don't want to ever feel pressured into working over hours when I shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So from that experience, I was like, okay, I've got a month here where like I was let go on garden leave, so I have a month of pay.
Yeah.
So in my head, I was thinking, okay, I get paid for a month, and I'm not actually doing anything. So this is my time to do stuff for me.
Yeah.
So within that month, I was like, okay, I'm going to do loads of research. I'm going to build up my own sort of like business in terms of marketing and the agency side of things. So then I created a website for myself, and I went down the route of, you know what, building a page of creativity, but also the business related stuff. And then I started looking at different small businesses and ways that I could improve, and thinking about how would I pitch myself to these businesses. And then, do you know what, weirdly enough, I had someone reach out to me and say, hi Leilah, I remember working with you before, and I remember we had a conversation about social media, and you gave me some pointers of how to improve and things like that. And I was wondering if you'd like to help us out a little bit. And I was like, how weird is that? Like, how weird is that? So, yeah, like, you know what, we're all on a path, we're all on a journey.
Yeah.
And I think every negativity is always a blessing because there's always an open door waiting for you, in a sense. And the run up to these moments were like so crucial. It was a roller coaster, but the negatives always turn and transform into such big positives, and I think that's my way of life. So yeah, I mean, blessings on blessings. And I've said to all my friends this year, like, there is so much energy and so much positivity for 2021, and already I've seen like massive changes for my friends and the people that are around me as well. So it's always a good thing, isn't it, when you've got like the good energy and the positive energy around you. And I think it was so good to get out of that negative space, just to transform and lead up to these events, and now be really happy with what I'm doing and excited for the future, in a sense. So yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, it kind of reinforces that fact, like, that everything happens for a reason, because if you didn't leave that job role, this opportunity might not ever come up for you to progress in that way.
You know what, like, it really does. And one of my friends said to me, it's funny, like, you didn't actually apply for the job that you were going to apply for, but then you were made redundant, and it was like, it was meant to be that you were supposed to get away from that. So definitely, in terms of things happening for a reason, like, it's so true. And I think everybody goes through negative like moments, but you just have to just really transform it and turn it to your positive energy, like your moment, and take it as an opportunity rather than a downfall, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does. And you spoke about your friends calling you a Disney ball of energy, and I'm wondering where does that come from, and what makes you, that ball of energy?
Yeah, and you know what, I don't know what it is, and I think it's just that in a room full of people, I love to talk. I love to meet new people. I love to be an energy. in the room. And there's people go through a lot of like anxiety and social issues and things like that, and I don't ever want anybody to ever feel uncomfortable when I'm in a room with them. There'll be times at work when people will come over and I can tell they feel a bit awkward, and I change the conversation in a way that I'm letting them know they're comfortable around me in a sense, because I think it's nice to be comfortable around people, and also to be able to have a conversation, just to have a conversation, and be able to learn about the people around you, because we as humans are just so special. Like, everybody's so different and everybody's so like unique, and it's lovely just to learn so much about other people. And I think that's what it is for me. Like, I feed off energy, and I like to be energy that people can feed off in a sense, because you become who you are around, and I would want people to be positive around me, and that's what I'll try and radiate, positivity. So that's just me as a person. I think it does come down to experience in like acting, training in dance and drama and theatre and things like that. That has massively benefited, but I just think positivity first and always.
And we can feel that positivity coming out to your screen. So thank you. So I was wondering if you could talk about your journey from after school, because I know that you did pursue going to a creative school. So if you can tell us a little bit about that and what it was like being, was it BOA I think you went to? Yeah, if you could tell us a little bit about that.
BOA was amazing. It was interesting, because after school, I remember a lot of my friends were going to Solihull sixth form, and I was sort of like the only friend in the friendship group that was like, I'm going to this like drama, dancing, like theatre school, and it wasn't talked about much because it was a brand new college in a sense, and nobody knew a lot about it, and it was a real big risk, but it was something that I enjoyed. And I think when you're at a school, you don't really know what you want to do, and it's okay to not know what you want to do, because still at this point I will have to say to you, I don't know what I want to do. There's so many different things that I can think of, and like my head's constantly on the go of like, oh, I could do that, oh, I want to do that. And like, this is 10 years on from school, do you know what I mean? Like, over 10 years on from school. And at that point I was like, you know what, I want to do something that I enjoy. So at that time I went and applied for BOA, Birmingham and Wisdom Academy, and it was a risk, but it was like, just do it and just enjoy the process. And I remember when I first started there, and we didn't actually have our classes at the campus. We had our classes at Millennium Point. The building wasn't even finished. The building wasn't finished, and it wasn't equipped with the library was non-existent. It was called a library with no books, and it was so weird, but it was fun and exciting at the same time. In a sense, we were like the guinea pigs, but I won't slate it because I enjoyed it so much. It was such a blessing because I did dance at BOA, so my day-to-day at BOA would be go to the dance studio, do contemporary, leave the dance studio, go and eat whatever, have a relax, go to the dance studio, do ballet, leave. And then like it was such a lovely routine. At the time it was like, whoa, this is so draining, this is so tiring. But when I think back now, I think what a blessing to be able to dance every single day, and to be able to learn about your body, to learn about the process, how your body can move. And I think that's why I'm such a physical person as well. I think it's just everything that I've experienced is just all together, and it's still within me. And BOA was so much fun, so much fun. And I think it was so nice to start the time that I started, because there wasn't many people on campus. We was the first year, and we had, I think, maybe two sets of groups of people, so like 2 years there. Whereas now the campus is full, there's no free space, it's very, very busy. But the blessing of being there at the time that I was, we had so much free time and free space and free studios. So when we had like a free 2 hours, we were like, let's go to the dance studio, let's bang out a routine, let's record it, have fun, and let's like just enjoy the moment in a sense. But I think the weird thing about being at BOA, social media wasn't that advanced then, and it wasn't that popular. And I think that's something that I wish that I had done a lot more of, which was like record process. And the process lives within me in a sense. It doesn't, I haven't many videos from BOA, which I wish I did, because I think back and I'm like, wow, I remember doing that dance, that was really good. But for the love of me now, I can't remember how to do it. I'm like, so yeah, I definitely wish that I had the social media that we have today when back then. But I think that's what allowed me to enjoy it more, just to do it and do it for the moment. But that was amazing. And like when I graduated from BOA, so at that point I was like, okay, what do I do now? Like, people are saying, what do you want to do? And I'm not ready. I don't know what to do. And I was going to go to university, and I don't think I was like fully ready for it. And people around me were all going, yeah, like you can do this at uni, you can do that. And I was thinking, I'm not ready for it yet. So I had the dance experience, but then I was thinking, well, why not get the acting experience now I've done that side of things? So I then applied for Birmingham Theatre School, and I hadn't really heard of this either. I'm not going to lie to you. I just wing it. I wing it all the time. But you know what? It's just such a blessing. It really is good to go with the flow sometimes. And I applied there, and I remember having an interview, and it was a bit of a weird one, because the director was like, oh, so you've already been to college? Like, and everybody that was going to like Birmingham Theatre School, they were coming from school. So I was sort of like, I'd already had these 2 years of experience in dance. And then I explained to him, yeah, but I've had the dance experience and I want to do the acting now. Like, I want to try and get, I want to broaden my pathways in a sense, because you know what, your body can only go so long in dance, and I wouldn't want to limit myself. So at that point I was like, yeah, this is something I want to do. Like, I want to try and get the all-round experience. And he was lovely. He was amazing, like my director at Birmingham Theatre School. He was lovely. He got everything sorted for me. He got me booked on, like, I was like, yeah, okay, let's do this. And then I had 2 years of acting experience, like, and it was, you know, when you look back and you think, oh, like, there's some people that, oh, I hate school, I hated college, and I'm like, whoa, I could never hate any, like, I loved school. There obviously was downsides to it, but I absolutely loved school. I loved BOA, absolutely loved it, and I should have appreciated it more at the time, because when you've just left school, it's like, oh, education, more education. But like in creativity, everything's just it's so positive and radiating, and it really keeps you sane in a sense. And I think that's something I always go by. Like, if I wasn't doing anything creative, I think I would slowly be slipping away from sanity. But managing to stay within the creative industry has just built me up so much as a person. And doing the acting side of things, I learned so much at Birmingham Theatre School. It was brutal. It was really brutal and hardcore. And I remember, like, the director was so stern and so like, why did you have your bobble on your wrist in the dress rehearsal? And it was like, it was a bobble, leave me alone. But it was just, I think I needed that. I think a lot of people need that, and people who don't experience that when they're training and acting, they then sort of like, not slob, but their work tends to be a little bit slobbish, because if you don't have the right and correct training, then how are you supposed to hold yourself as a person within the industry? So it was amazing, and at the time I was like, why is he doing this? But it was so good, and I'd love to go back. I always look at the work that they're doing, and I think I really need to go back and like experience some of their productions and stuff. And I remember this one time, I don't know if you guys know, I'm constantly changing my hair. It's brunette at the moment. It's always blue, it's always green, it's always different tones. And when I was at theatre school, I remember I had my hair ombre blue, and I've had it since I was like, just when I left school I started dyeing my hair blue, so I'm always dipping in and out. But at that time I didn't realise how restricting it was, and I know it was only theatre school, but because I had my hair blue, the director refused to give me a main role.
Oh really?
And he was like, yeah. And it was good, because it was like, what roles am I going to get with blue hair? Let's be real. And I remember I cut my hair off and I had it cut into a bob. And I say this to myself because this is how I think it went, but I'm not sure if this is the legitimate reason. But I had my hair cut into a bob, and it was natural, and it was brunette. And I did that because I was like, you know what? There's a role going at theatre school and I really, really want it. And I did it, and he got me to do like a little audition thing for the role. And I remember this other girl doing it as well, and she was in her last year, and I was like, oh, she's so gonna get this role. But I was just like, you know what, just go with it. You've just cut your hair's natural, let's see what happens. And I got the role, and I was like, is that because I cut my hair? I was like, surely not. But like, in a sense, it was like, you really, if you want to go within that industry, you really have to look the part, and you really have to be willing to go that extra mile for the roles and the opportunities, in a sense. So it was such a learning curve, and I was so thankful. I absolutely loved. I played the role of Persephone Hadley in Noughts and Crosses. They did a series recently on TV for it as well. It was such an amazing experience, and at that point I was like, yeah, I love creativity. I love it. I remember just learning lines, and it was a lot to learn because it was my first main role, but it was such an amazing experience. And I think that the whole experience was like, okay, if I'm going to uni, I'm doing something creative, because I'm enjoying myself way too much. So I literally took all of that on, and I remember I graduated from there as well, and I'm so thankful. I got top grades, and I don't know how I did it, because in the second year my focus was slipping a little bit because I was just having way too much fun. It was the written work. I was like, oh, I don't really like the written, but I mean, who does when they're like doing acting and stuff? But I graduated from there with distinction stars as well, and I was like, okay, now uni, what are we going to do? And I ended up going to Coventry University studying theatre and professional practice. So I had done dance, acting, and then now I'm doing theatre. And I was like, okay, yeah, we'll roll with this. Now I'm an all-rounder. I mean, I say that, but I can't sing. But so university itself was just a whole experience. It was the first year. I think everybody feels the same about first year. I won't talk for everybody, but I feel like a lot of people do feel the same. It's sort of like you already know a lot of it, but it's a refreshment year in a sense. And when I was going through like the first year, I was like, hang on, is this what I want to do? I feel like I'm stepping back a little bit here. In terms of Birmingham Theatre School, it was like a college course. It was 2 years, but when I say to you, it was so hardcore that it is as good as a actual drama school. I will say that, like, because the training there was so good, and the people you had around you were so amazing and so focused on the craft that when I got to uni, I was like, I already, like, I'm too experienced to be dipping back in steps here. And that's how I felt. I felt like I was stepping back a lot. But I pushed it out. I was like, you know what, just just see how the year goes, just pass the year, and then maybe things will start to change. And I was so thankful. The second year, things changed so much, and it was amazing. Like when I think about uni, my second year was my favorite because I'd made friends with so many people, and the third years were doing their final shows and their third year shows. And I remember one of the girls absolutely loved to bits. She was doing a big show, and it was based on gang violence, and she wanted to do a little bit of comedy in it as well. And she was like, the cast isn't going to be big, but basically we want to do it so it's raising awareness on like gang violence, knife crime and stuff like that. There's going to be 2 female actors in it, and the rest are going to be like guys, like it's going to be gangs. And I was like, shall I do this? And I was thinking, I'm going to commit so many hours after uni, and I'm going to be in Coventry, and I was commuting back and forth from Birmingham to Coventry, and I was like, oh, can I do this? And I was at the point I was like so lazy having to do written work and stuff. But I remember there was just like, to me, just give me a pep talk, like, I really think you should audition for this, like this show. I think it'll be really good. And my friend, he knew he had secured the main role, and he said, Lay, like, I think it's going to be really good, like definitely audition. And I auditioned for the main role, and the sheets came out. I didn't get the main role, and I was like, I don't know why, but I'm not actually fussed about it. I'm really excited for it, because funnily enough, the show that they were doing, they knew what they wanted to do with it. And the director, Chantal, she was like, I know what I'm going to do, but a lot of it, we want to add your spin on stuff as well. So you're going to sort of mold the characters that will be in the show. And I got the role of one of the guys, the main guy's friend. And it was so good, because all the cast were people that I absolutely loved, and they radiated positive energy, and it was so good to be around them constantly. And when I think of uni, this show itself was like the sole like reason I absolutely loved uni, because the show went on, we rehearsed, and we managed to perform at the Belgrade Theatre with it and everything. And we was going to tour it, but then 2020 happened. So but it was that itself, and being able to be part of such a big production, and the feedback we got from it was insane. Like we never expected to get such good feedback from it. And for me, myself, it was the acting side of it. I was able to put myself in a role, and it was a very physical role as well. There was like gang fights, there was really good staged, like big scenes, and it's on YouTube at the moment. It's Shine My Nine by Keychain Theatre Company, and I think people were so shocked by the physicality that was in it, because we didn't want to do basically a show that was just like, gang violence, and it's brutal. And the directors, Chantal, she put like a spin on it, and she added the comedy with it as well. And one of the girl who got main role, she was amazing, like absolutely loved it to bits, and she studied and did cheerleading. So can you imagine the physicality of the piece? And I myself have done dance, and I'm tiny, I'm 5'2", 5'3". So they were like, yeah, we've got a good pass, let's throw people around. So it was but moving on from that, like that year itself was amazing. Like second year, I can only really think about that. And then alongside that, I remember I got a main role in another production that we did at the theatre. And it was nice, because that year was just solely performing and just really putting yourself out there and learning about the audience. So third year of university was the most challenging, but you know what, also life-changing, because I learned so much. And obviously third year you do your dissertation and things like that, so it was a bit like, yikes, what have we got to look forward to? And third year also meant that we were meant to do our final show, our grad show. And at this point I was like, okay, what do I want to do? Like I feel like second year I've done it all now. I've really managed to do every single thing that I've wanted to do at university, and that I've wanted to do anyway, which was perform in this amazing show, and I absolutely loved it to bits. And I was like, well, okay, now it's my time to challenge myself. So for my final show, I was like, maybe I shouldn't perform in it, maybe I shouldn't act in it. And this was a bit like, I knew it was going to be a challenge, but I wanted to go to university to learn. And what would I learn if I was doing the same thing again, doing acting, like doing a massive show and I'm just performing in it? So I got the role of director and I got the role of marketing manager. And at this point, I'd never done anything like it before. I was like, what am I doing? But I think I'd built up so many skills along my journey. And in a sense, I want to say that I was 2 years ahead, because I had done the like Birmingham Western Academy and like Birmingham Theatre School. I'd done that. And I thought, it is my time to challenge myself. And I don't know how I'm going to react in this role, but I think I have the skill set now to do it. And I was working alongside university as well. I was working at a nightclub called Indie Bar in the Arcadian, and I was bar supervisor, so I had leadership skills already, and I was supervisor there for 6 years. And I was like, you know what, I can do this, let's just do it. And the marketing side of things, it was so interesting because at this point, this is when I started to focus a bit more on social media, and the whole social media presence thing came alive. Like I didn't know it was a thing until mainly third year. That's when I started to focus and build my own personal profile on my Instagram. And I was like, you know what, I can do this for a theatre company, definitely. So I took on the role of director and marketing manager, and for me it was so nice to step back and really go behind the scenes in a sense. And I was working alongside with a lovely girl, Sital. She was production manager. She was lovely, and we really felt all of the, not pain, but the stress of those roles, and it made us really appreciate those roles a lot more, because within the creative industry you only really hear about the people that are on the stage or the people that you see that are performing, that are at the front of it all. You don't see behind the scenes and the stress and the madness that people have to go through to get these people to where they are, in a sense. And it was insane. It was hard. We had to do sessions, rehearsals, and it would be me like writing notes of feedback to give to the group. And it was lovely to have experienced Birmingham Theatre School, because Chris was a massive role model. Chris, my director at that theatre school, he was a massive role model for me to step into the shoes of being a director, because I know how he did it, and I watched how he did it. I'd experienced how he did it, and I took on all the best bits of it to sort of portray and put them out as myself as a director. And the marketing side of things, I was like, you know what, if I'm going to do this social media stuff, let's do it. So I remember we collaborated with a photographer, and she was lovely. She came around with us to rehearsals, to shoots, and she'd get all these gorgeous pictures, like, and we really stacked up like this massive portfolio of professional. I say professional because her work was amazing, and that's what I love about collaborations. She was building her profile up while we was building our profile up. And I was just like, you know what, we're going to build all of these images and we're going to put them onto a social media profile. So we're going to build an Instagram up for our theatre company, and we're going to constantly feed this profile with all these pictures to create this massive buzz. And I remember within like the first month, we had like, I want to say like 3,000 followers on the Instagram profile. At the time, it was like, oh my God, how have we done this? Because like, we're nobodies. We literally just created this theatre company. Nobody knows of us, but we've created this presence online and people are talking about it. And I remember like a lot of the people at uni were saying, how have you done that? And it's just like consistency, like making sure that you have the content there to constantly post. And we went wild. We were like, okay, now we want to be really creative, and we were like, how do we want to promote the show? How do we want to create that buzz? So yeah, we built up this profile, and then now was the time to create the buzz. So we were thinking, okay, let's do a trailer. Let's do a trailer for the theatre show, the theatre production that we are putting out. And we had such a creative group, and the group that I had was amazing. Like, they were all my friends. They were all my best friends at uni, and we clicked so well. Like, I loved my theatre group so much. Like, outside of uni, we'd go out all the time. We'd go for drinks, meals, and stuff like that. So we knew we could work together. We knew we could do something fun and creative. So we decided to do a music video. We did a music video as a trailer for the theatre production. Oh. And I think that's when you really sit down and think, whoa, we are just a bunch of creatives, because like, who else would think to do that? It's just so random and so weird. But that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to do something different. And I think me putting myself in the role as marketing manager, I knew I wanted to challenge us as a group, as a company. And it was such a good experience. It was so great. And we filmed it, and something really interesting happened. We actually had a videographer booked in, and on the day we were like, okay, well, where are they at? Have they said anything? What's going on, sort of situation. On the day, like within the hour before we were supposed to shoot the video, the videographer had dropped out.
Oh my god.
He was in a position like, okay, so what do we do now? So who was the only person that was free? Me. So at this point I was like, you know what, guys, let's wing it. I'm an actor. This is my time to act as a videographer. So I remember getting the camera, and I had no clue what I was doing, but I was like, you know what, if I act like I'm a videographer, I'm going to become that role. So I remember just getting on the table, and I was like, ooh, like this, like moving all around, and it was such a fun experience. And I remember when we sent the footage to the editor, he made me so happy. Maybe he was saying it just to make me happy, but he was like, you actually did really well, you know, for like someone who's never ever done that before, you did really well. And I was so happy. And I think that's, as a creative, you have to be ready and willing to jump into any role, because in any situation someone could fall ill, in any situation someone can drop out last minute, and you have to be ready for things like that and moments like that. And I think that was a massive learning curve. I'd never done that before, but now I can say I shot a music video. Like, I did that, and it's so funny. Like, the video is actually on YouTube and everything. And when I say to people, "Oh yeah, I filmed a music video," they're like, "What?" But it's nice to be able to say it. And it was great. Like, I remember our director at university, Glenn. He loved our group's marketing. He loved our group's energy, and I think the best thing about it was we went outside. We thought outside of the box. So you really have to be different, and it was an amazing experience. And the whole marketing situation, it was a challenge, but it was me realizing, wow, this is actually something that I enjoy doing. And I worked so closely with the girl that was production manager, Zahra. She was lovely, and we worked so much together on it as well. It was very, very hard, but it was good as well. And there was a lot of learning to do along the journey, but I learned so much from third year because I took that chance to challenge myself. And if I hadn't have done that, it just would have been me enjoying it, and that's fine, but I wanted to enjoy it and challenge myself as well. So that was third year in a quick pace nutshell, but it was amazing. It was an amazing experience.